Hi there, welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to be taking a look at the proof that sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. And that's for any angle theta. Now this is one of them situations where you might be in a math class and your teacher might say, well, here's a formula, just learn it. However, I think that understanding the deeper meaning behind these formulas allows our intuition to shine through and gives us a better understanding of these formulas. So let's have a look. Now, the first thing we need to remember is the way in which sine, cosine, and tangent are defined. So here we have a right-angled triangle. It has one angle, which is a right angle, and this angle theta. Now, sine, cosine, and tangent are defined in this way. Sine theta is equal to the opposite side to the angle, which is this one, divided by the hypotenuse. Cosine of theta is defined as the adjacent, so that's the line right next to the angle, divided by the hypotenuse. And finally, tan theta is defined as the opposite over the adjacent. Right, and in actual fact, tan theta is sine theta over cos theta. But we don't need to worry about that too much for now. Well, let's have a look at something else we know. So we also know something called Pythagoras theorem. Right, and we all know about Pythagoras. He lived in sort of the 3rd, 4th century BC, and there's various stories about him, but the thing he's probably most famous for is coming up with this theorem. So in a right angled triangle, we have that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse. Okay, so how can that help us here? Well, let's relabel the hypotenuse as c, the opposite as a, and the adjacent as b. Now let's use Pythagoras' theorem to help us. Okay, so what is sine squared theta? Well, that's just the opposite over the hypotenuse squared. Okay, good. So the opposite over the hypotenuse, well, the opposite is a, and the hypotenuse is c. So this is a over c squared, which equals a squared over c squared. Similarly, cosine squared theta, well, this is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, all squared. The adjacent is b, and the hypotenuse is c, and this is all squared. So this is b squared over c squared. Good. Right, now let's recall what we're trying to prove. We're trying to prove that sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta, well, it equals a squared over c squared plus b squared over c squared. So we can combine these fractions as they have the same denominator. Okay, now, and look what we have on the top. We have a squared plus b squared, right? But a squared plus b squared equals c squared by Pythagoras. So we can input this into here and get c squared over c squared, which is 1. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. Hit the like button if you did enjoy. Stay safe. Thanks very much.